So a long time ago, I got these extended paddles for my Logitech G920. The problem is these were made for a deep dish wheel, so the actual rim of the wheel would sit out that little bit further. That way you kind of got a little bit more room up behind your wheel. The issue is when I bought these, I had a deep dish wheel, which then ended up breaking on me. And I wanted to replace it with something a little bit different and something with a bit more color. That's how I ended up with this one. The problem is I still needed extended paddles, and these were all I had, so I had to put them on. Now, I have extended paddles that are flat ones. These ones are designed for these more sort of flat style wheels rather than the dished wheels. So these are going to replace these ones. I'm going to show you all the steps on how to do that. So even if you do have your standard paddles and you're looking to upgrade, hopefully this video helps you out. There are also other styles of paddles as well now. I will also leave some links down below for some various different paddles. It'll just be on like some little web page. So there will be some dished ones, some ones for some non-dished ones. I can't seem to find a link for these exact ones that I'm using. I have also seen ones where instead of having to take your wheel apart to put on an extended paddle, I've seen ones where they just simply clip onto your factory paddle, onto your standard paddle. So if you'd rather not be pulling your wheel apart, that is also another option for you as well. We're going to take all this off so we can get up behind here, take these ones off, put the new ones on. So doing the back of your wheel to get the actual faceplate off, best thing to do is get a small screwdriver that has a magnetic tip on it, or if you don't have one, you can get a screwdriver and just rub a magnet on the end of it. That way, you don't lose these tiny little screws. So you don't need to disconnect your motherboard. You're welcome to take it. Ah, crap, I accidentally turned it on. Make sure, guys, stop. Make sure you've got everything unplugged. That way you don't have that happen when you're playing around with it. So all it is we've got 2 screws at the top, 2 at the bottom. We undo those, our paddle will slide straight out. So it's completely up to you which orientation you want to put your paddle. If you want to have the longer bit at the top or the bottom, I guess it depends where you want to sit your hands. Mine usually sit towards the top of the wheel, so I'm going to have the longer bit at the top. We're just going to slide this right in the back there, try and line up the holes again. So once you put your first one in, keep it a little bit loose just so you can still move it around. Once you get your second one in, then you can sort of crank them both down. Obviously not too much, this is all plastic on this base here, but enough that it's not going to be like shaking around anywhere. That one's feeling good, we'll get onto the other side and then we pretty much do everything back in reverse, get it all set up, make sure it's all working properly and that we're getting the click, and then we can jump into a game and give it a little test. If you are having issues trying to get this screw back in, you can maybe notch it out a little bit. Just because your screwdriver will be on a bit of an angle, it might be a little bit more awkward to try and get into that one. So after driving around with it a little bit in Forza Motorsport 7, using the paddles to change gears, I am finding that I am having to reach just that little bit more compared to what I have been used to. But this is a little bit more realistic to a real car setup as well, because you're not going to have those paddles sitting right on top of the steering wheel. They feel a lot more solid, they don't bounce around as much. So I'm not sure if that's just a flaw with the old ones, or if that's because I sort of had to bend them back a little bit, so they sort of lost a little bit of that rigidity. So overall, very happy with the swap that I've done. So next I think I'm going to go and do some drifting and just see how it's sort of feeling with that. We've got so much more clearance there, and it should feel a little bit nice without having to get our fingers all jammed up when we're letting that wheel do its spins. So after playing around with it for a little bit for the drifting, I am noticing that my fingers feel fine. They're not getting smacked up. They're not getting caught on the paddles every time I try and let the wheels sort of throw around, or if I try and throw the wheel around. It's just feeling much nicer to drive with. So again, if you guys are wanting to get some extended paddles, whether you've got a deep dish wheel or a more flat wheel, I will leave a link down below. It should have a variation between the two and different styles, and if you need to take the wheel apart or if they just clip on. But other than that, I'm going to keep playing around with this, and eventually I need to take this thing all back apart again anyway, because I need to sort out my handbrake issue.